Welcome to the Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. The Laughing Talk Show. That's how I describe myself.
It's
Rob.
a good thing you're not the one actually curing the cancer.
No, you know, there's no doubt about it. Anyway, how y'all all welcome to the Griffon Show. That's Rob Kirkpatrick, of course, the program director and number one good guy around here at KPL Station. Lance Harris is calling. He don't know it yet, Brandon. Tell him we got a few minutes because Rob and Town Square Media, and of course, if you're in Town Square Media in Lafayette, I know of, they're doing a radiothon, and I'm going to let you take it from there. And it's all about raising money for Children's Hospital. We'll talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is up in Memphis, and I got a chance to go a few weeks ago. I spent 4 days there, maybe the most emotional 4 days that I had, just because you are faced with your greatest fear as a parent. You obviously dealt with medical challenges in your life, and
it's a lot similar to what you're doing because I was in children's in Arkansas, Rob. But cancer and leukemia is about to wipe a child out.
Yep.
We've been fortunate that's not the level we were at, but we had our chances. But I am familiar with seeing the kids that y'all saw, and it's unbelievable.
And from a parent standpoint, it's the need to have hope is what's so important, is that one day maybe you get back to some sort of normalcy of life. Well, the folks at St. Jude, by the way, do this. And look, I've been it's just after 9 o'clock, and I just put "by the way" in the middle of a sentence. It just happens when I'm in your presence.
Influence of Innocent Moon.
Anyway, you know what?
Innocent Moon, I like that.
What happens there is nothing short of miraculous. You know, you're used to going places and going to hospitals and seeing doctors who work to fix what's wrong with you. There, they work to heal your whole life, and that includes your parents and your siblings and your mental health, and all is at the same time of cancer. So we are inviting people to come Partners with Hope with us at 1-800-372-4999. If you're listening to Moon right now, the number 1-800-372-4999. To become a Partner in Hope with us, it's $20 a month. And when I tell you, I sit back because luckily as a parent, I've never been put in the situation where I got this diagnosis.
Yes.
But whenever you go there and you realize, wait a second, if it did ever happen, there's a place to go. Yeah. It's just an all.
But Rob, when you see those kids that are really sick, and I heard y'all talking about off the air, you actually bless more than they are.
Oh, but
and
they
you
still
going, holy cow! They got a better attitude than I have in regular life. With you. No, tell the truth.
Yes, I talked to this kid Julie, and he's 11.
Wow.
And what is the one thing you don't want to be doing when you're 11 is having an IV pole that you have to carry around, and you watch them run around. They're kicking soccer balls, and the cool place about St. Jude is they're allowed to. They're allowed to play music as loud as they want. Do art projects whenever they want. Just go and be kids. Yeah, and it's really great. So thanks so much for having me on. It's a great thing we do here.
Real quick, I know here in Lafayette they're doing it. I think they're doing this in other markets too today.
It's all across the country. Different days everywhere.
And it may be different radio groups too.
Exactly. Yeah, all over the place. Different radio groups everywhere. A couple weeks ago, the conference that I went to in Memphis, I mean, it was 500 programmers from across the country that all came together to really talk about what can we do. And to date, let me just give the radio listeners a pat on the back, because we've talked about this last year before. We always come on your show. $790 million has been raised through radio stations like this one. Wow. And it sounds like a lot, but when you're talking about a hospital that costs $2.4 million per day. I mean, it's pretty much funding for about a year, and we're talking about fundraising over 30 years. So every little bit helps. If you've been waiting for that thing to come along that you really want to make a difference, now's the time.
By the way, folks, give it out one more time.
So it's 1-800-372-4999, or you can text LIVE to 785-833. You'll get a text, and that'll bring you right to the phone.
The reason and I'm going to encourage people to give, the reason why I'm telling y'all it's a good cause, I actually handed Rob my American Express business card. Now, Rob's got all the information. He didn't tell me what he's going to use it for.
I'm not sure.
I got a feeling what he's going to use this for.
Yeah, this is all going to be for great. Any other day, you should be worried because we'd have lunch, we'd have everything else.
I'm glad you just walking right back from a couple rooms over.
You can trust me. Look, the St. Jude kids need you, and you can do this.
Let me tell you something. I'd much rather you having my credit card than my wife.
Well, you said it.
Because she's not listening, I hope. Anyway, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. And bring my card back. All right, let's jump gears. As you know, we've been battling, and we got the number here. If anybody calls you, Brandon, you can give it to them. We'll give it out during the course of the program as well. Right. y'all been paying attention, at least on our program, and I'm so glad I got hold of a video that showed what Jay Darden said, $600 million cut. Well, now the governor has set out a deal saying he cut $600 million. And by the way, we got a lot of falsehoods in this one again. I've asked Representative Lance Harris to come back. We're going to start calling this the Griffon and Harris Show pretty soon. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Moon, and good talking to you this morning.
You know, Lance, Lance, you're not quite a typical politician. When I called Lance to get on the program, he said, "You sure I'm not been on here too much?" Hey, during the Bobby Jindal days, I had to call him and tell him, "Look, you can't come on more than once a week. I mean, 9 times in a week is too much."
Yeah, I know, but I tell you, I don't want people to get sick of listening to me. That's
no, but I think you got some great information. All right, the governor sends out his $600 million worth of cuts, but not so fast. Not so fast, because I even read an article in the Times-Picayune they're questioning, and they're talking about using the cuts more than once, double cutting the same thing, restoring all this money, and they're questioning them. And, of course, Jay Darden told you they weren't cuts.
That's right. Whenever we were in the joint legislative budget committee meeting and I questioned him, he said they used means of finance swaps, and that's a standard government practice, and that they do that sort of thing in order not to make the real cuts to, and this is very important, the general fund. So that is exactly what he said, and of course the governor said in JLCB 2 weeks ago that he told Senator Hewitt that he made over $600 million in cuts to the general fund budget. And that means, to me, cuts would be reductions.
Yeah, and that's correct, because let's face it, the general fund is up. It's up by a lot, and then you throw in the federal money, it's really up. So, all right, he sends a list out. Talk about the list, because there was also something sent out that Legislative Fiscal Office, I think, sent it out as just saying, hey, well, hold up just a second on all these cuts. Well, who's right, and tell me what's going on.
Well, I'll tell you, there's 2 components there. Number one, the Legislative Fiscal Office, which is an independent body. It's not Republican, Democrat. It's not Senate or House. They have a Focus on the Fisc newsletter, and in the March 17 newsletter, they detail all of these means of finance swaps and these things that were done, and they themselves said in their newsletter that it was only a net of $107 million in cuts to the general fund, 17.3% of the total $617 million shortfall. Now, what was circulated the night before last was the governor's response to that. And you have to watch, and this is why it's so important we discuss this matter, because we're trying to educate the public on how these things worked in Baton Rouge. The governor said he reduced general fund spending. And then if you look at the definition, he says, of what a cut is in the thing he sent out. So, for example, he said in Department of Health and Hospitals that he reduced it by $219.85 million. Mm-hmm. And what that was actually was $156.9 million Medicaid vendor payment that was pushed into the next year. Now, that's not a cut to the budget.
Not a cut at all.
No, they push it to the next year, and they spend every dime of it.
Wow.
So that's not a cut. And as you and I both have discussed, LDH's budget that has gone up $24 million. So in FY 17-18. So how in the world is that considered a cut?
Yo, how about the cuts to TOPS that was 100% fully refunded, totally refunded?
That's right. Exactly right. We made that 100% whole in this budget that we're in now. So the public has to get engaged and look at these budget debates, and they have to drill down to the information that's available to them. And one of the best sources is the Legislative Fiscal Division in the House, because they have everything posted, everything's online, and the constituent can go there and look at it.
Yeah, but so what they've actually done, after I think being embarrassed, and Brandon, you're going to need to pull that out because we're going to play that sometime. We're going to play it sometimes with Lance and Jay Darden going back and forth in this particular meeting. But it looked like to me they're actually doubling down on what I call a lie or misinformation, whatever one you want to use.
They're using their definition. What they say is general fund spending reductions. Their definition as a cut.
But hold up, though, Lan. Hold on. Let's get this straight. They might be doing that now, but they've been saying $600 million cut for months. They said $600 million cuts. What y'all have done is prove we haven't cut anything. Nothing's really been cut when you look at the big picture in real numbers. Now, if I'm off, explain to me how I'm off.
Well, you're not off. And I'll give you one that's just right out of common sense. Now, I try to use common sense every day, even though some people say I don't have a whole lot, but this is just common sense. If real $600 million in cuts were made, why in the world did the governor insist on getting $99.1 million out of the rainy day fund? Think about that.
Good point.
If he made the actual cuts to the general fund budget, in other words, he cut the budget, it didn't spend the money, why do we need to use the rainy day fund?
Good
Common
point.
sense.
Okay,
That rainy day fund went into the budget in order not to make cuts.
Yep.
Very plain and simple. And I'll give you another example. Some of these things that they're saying are cuts is like me having, say, 2 employees, and they come to me and say, cut your budget by $10,000. And I take $10,000 from Sally, and I give $10,000 to Jim.
Yep.
Is that a cut?
Well, in the big department, it is not a cut at all. It's a cut to the person, and that's what I was going to ask you about. They're showing a cut within a department, and so they cut this $30 million less for public-private hospital partnership, and they take that 30 and put it over at somebody else, still under the same department head. You did not cut.
That's right. Means of finance swap, just like.
Okay, well, hold on. Hold your thought. When we get back, I want to go back in the means of financial swap, and I got a couple other questions, and I'll let you get out of here. It's Representative Lance Harris. Folks, I'm just telling y'all, Lance is right on the money on this, but to spin things from the honor code is phenomenal. By the way, they accused Bobby Jindal of using bad numbers. Sound like to me we got a case of deja vu all over again, Brandon, as Yogi Berra would say. We'll be right back. All right. How y'all all? Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Beware of faulty numbers that the governor's putting back. Matter of fact, in one of the articles today in Times-Picayune, John Bell Edwards, this is the headlines, Lance. You'll be impressed. This was Julie O'Donoghue. John Bell Edwards says he cut $600 million from Louisiana's budget, but has he? I mean, you don't never see that. That was a Jim Beam piece. He'd be bragging how he cut it. But I was a little shocked because it started giving examples of what you just brought up. Some portion of healthcare cuts have also been counted twice in the cuts. He said, and they say there's a lot of stuff like that in here.
That's correct.
Yeah, you can't cut stuff.
I haven't had a chance to read the article yet, but it sounds correct.
No, it is. They got some good points in it. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's got some good points. All right. You mentioned about these this money that we take and then we put back in the account, and you said it's a common practice. Talk a little bit about the common practice.
Well, that's what Jay Darden said in his opening remarks back in the August joint budget, that it's a common practice to use means of finance swaps in order to make sure that we don't have to do real cuts to the state general fund, which is where your real cuts are made. Okay?
Now say that again, so we don't have to make real cuts. That ought to tell you everything you need to know.
That's his words. Now you can play the tape. That's his words.
Oh,
so
I'm
what
gonna
that
play.
Basically means, if you have some unfilled positions that you have been budgeted for, or you have that money for, you can swap that to something else, and it doesn't reduce your budget. So there's a lot of different ways to do that, and they can backfill when the money comes in. It may be some things of that nature. So there's a lot of that goes on that makes sure that they don't have to cut the general fund budget. But let me just give you the facts. Here are the facts, period. This is why you have to be careful. The FY 15-16 budget was $16.4 billion. It went up the next year. This is state general fund, state general fund. Excuse me, that's a state effort. I'm sorry. State general fund was $8.697 billion. Then it went up to $9.143 billion. Then up this year to $9.442 billion. That's an increase every year. So you cannot say that there were cuts or that the budget has been cut. It's an increase every single year. That's the fact.
Yeah, and you're right. We're haggling over numbers, but I can't say my budget went down. I can't say I cut anything out if it went up. In other words, think about what they're doing. I got a truck note, and I just paid it off, and it was $500 a month. If I was saving that money, I'd put that in the savings account. You agree with that, I'm sure. But if I took that money and decided I'm going to now buy me a boat, I'm going to buy me a boat, and I got a $500 boat note, I could say, hey, look, I cut $500 out of my vehicle deal. And you'd say, you did. Look, that's gone. But I put it over here. I'm still spending the same amount of money or more. It's just they playing games, and that's what you said. Let's get to the bottom line. The bottom line is the budget has grown. It's grown tremendously, and they can't justify by saying they cut it. They can't. And every time Edward says that or Dorn says that, and now Jay's kind of saying it, when in August he said, I never said that, the fact is the money's gone up, and it's gone up, and it's gone up, and they don't need any more money.
Right. And that's why I'm adamant about questioning these kind of things, because the public needs to realize when you're talking about government accounting, these kind of play on words can take place. We need to do just like we do in our household budget. Look at budgets from year to year. Were they reduced or did they go up?
They had a guy.
Period. It's that simple.
A guy emailed me yesterday and said, Moon, what are you I'm asking you, what do you elected officials do when you have a problem at home and you don't have enough money? And you just said that. You got to deal with it, and you can't necessarily go get money. All right, Lance Harris, thank you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, we'll do it again. All right, folks, we're just telling the truth here. I don't know what they're doing in Baton Rouge and what the Edwards and Darden and them are trying to pull. The truth is going to set us free, and if we keep listening to them in the press. Although I got to say this, there's more and more people in the press now starting to question Edwards on some of this bull. We needed more of that. Hey, Jim Beam, you listening? Why don't you try something? Why don't you try honesty for once? Might work. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. By the way, if you want to give to the Radiothon, and of course, this is a big deal. St. Jude, 800-372-4999. Make a $20 a month pledge. You become a partner with us, and I've already did it. Rob did. Give me back my credit card. I had to hunt him down, though. He's in there shaking his head. I had to hunt him down. You know what he was thinking? If Moon forgets and goes to lunch, I'll have lunch paid for. I know that's what he was thinking. But anyway, it is a great thing that radio folks are doing all over the place. But I know, particularly right here at Town Square, they're really working hard on all their radio stations. They have raised money for St. Jude. And Rob and them really did. They got to go. A lot of these radio, like you said, 500 people in the radio business that had a chance to go, and this is an all-day deal. And so they'd love for you to partner with. I did it, $20 a month. I put it on my business card, and 800-372-4999. Or you can text, did he say live?
Mm-hmm.
To 785-833.
And the cool thing is when you become a partner in Hope, they send you monthly
updates.
They send you I don't want to call them updates, but they have different children that are featured each month that have either gone through St. Jude or are currently at St. Jude.
That's cool.
And they tell you a little bit about their bio. They tell you what they're going through. And what you see out of it is not so much the disease that they're fighting, but the fact that they are amazing young fighters who have nothing but hope for the future. And so that's what you get out of it.
It's like Rob said, if you walk in there and they're running around playing with a bunch of kids while they're holding to a dialysis machine or whatever. I mean, that's just, that's kids. Kids are unbelievable. But they're very resilient. And anyway, it's a great way to contribute. And they'd like for you to partner up with our group or whoever else is out there maybe in your area that's doing this as well, which a lot of different radio groups are doing it. It just happens to be the one that we're at here in beautiful Lafayette. So, 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. All right. We had Lance Harris on. Folks, it's amazing. I got to tell you, when Edwards came in Darden, the co-governorship, Darden was rejected as a governor. He shouldn't get to play governor, but he gets to play governor. Only know 15% of the people voted for him. And out of those 15%, 90% of that don't understand who he is and how liberal and all that stuff he is. I try to tell them, they won't listen. Oh, we like Jay. Well, you can like him, but that don't mean he's a good co-governor. So we got the co-governorship going on. One of the things they came out, go back and read it and tell me I'm wrong. They made a big deal out of Bobby Jindal never used real numbers. Bobby Jindal used bad numbers. Bobby Jindal gave the bad numbers to us. What is Edwards doing by saying he cut $600 million? He's playing with numbers. They're playing with numbers to confuse people because there are people that want to believe what the governor's saying. Remember, he's the honor code. And the co-governor, Jay Darden, big Republican, remember? And, folks, they're playing with numbers. There's no $600 million cut. Lance said it. Bottom line is the budget's up. The state portion's up and the federal portion's up tremendously. He raised over $2 billion worth of permanent and temporary taxes. That's the fact, Jack. So we're playing with numbers again. And this $600 million is the number plan that Bobby Jindal was accused, and he is again. He used one-time money. Bobby Jindal used one-time money. He's sweeping funds. Bobby Jindal swept funds. So you got to put it in our perspective. Let's go back to what back in August during a meeting with Darden on the budget. You're getting ready to hear it. You'll hear Lance Harris first. I think I'm saying that right, Brandon. And then you'll hear Jay Darden. You go back and forth. And
you'll hear Jay Darden first, then
Jay Darden, and then Harris. And which listen to what Jay said. Jay said, "I didn't say nothing about no cuts. I didn't say that." Okay, that's what he says on this thing, and it's amazing because if you listen to it back and forth, Lance hems him up. No cuts. Means a financial swap. It's all it is. It's a gimmick they use. They can use it. It's legal. Then say it what? But don't claim you cut $600 million. You're playing with numbers, and you're sending numbers to people out there. Bill Edwards and Jay Darden are doing this, the co-governorship. The one-time governors are doing this, and they need to be stopped. Here it is.
Also emphasize that as we've done in previous years for long-standing practice as a state government, and certainly we did last year, as you'll recall, we will look first to means of financing swaps if they are available to avoid making the real cuts that will.
The Legislative Fiscal Office reported
instead of cuts, he said instead of real cuts, means of financial swap. That was out of Jay Darden's mouth, the co-governor. Instead of real cuts, we're going to do means of financial swap, meaning we don't have real cuts. For Bill Edwards and Jay Darden to release this is so deceiving to the public. You people go ahead and vote for him again. And you're going to get the honor code. Just think if he didn't have the honor code, how deceptive he would be. All right, let's roll. I'll let you roll through, Brandon, without me interrupting. But I forgot Jay Darden said that at the beginning, Brandon. That's why I stopped it. He said it. Matter of fact, Brandon, back up again. Jay Darden, listen, no real cuts means a financial swap. Let's roll through the whole thing.
Let me also emphasize that as we've done in previous years for long-standing practice as a state government, and certainly we did last year, as you'll recall, we will look first to means of financing swaps if they are available to avoid making the real cuts that will.
The Legislative Fiscal Office reported in March's Focus on the Fiscal Newsletter exactly how much of the $617 million shortfall were real cuts to spending. The combined net reductions to state agency budgets from both mid-year deficit elimination plans totaled $106.9 million, or 17.3% of the total $616.8 million adjusted shortfall.
I have a real quick question. You had talked in your opening remarks about means of finance swaps. So I know last year in the mid-year deficit, we had a $332 million mid-year deficit. So most of that, the majority of that, was handled by means of finance swaps, right. Correct?
Correct.
So we only actually did, and your words were, the means of finance swaps, they keep us from having to do cuts, is what you said in your opening statement.
And if I did, that would keep us from doing state general fund reductions, if we can find other monies that are in those budgets, particularly based upon closeout from the previous year that were carried forward, those could substitute from actually making the state general fund cut. That's what I'm referencing.
Right. So it means a finance swap doesn't really reduce lay anybody off or anything like that.
That's correct.
Okay. So the year before we had a $312 million adjustment. We had.
Okay. Stop just real quick. He specifically mentioned means of financial swap is not really a cut. And Jay Darden says that's correct. It's not a cut. Folks, who's playing with numbers now? Come on, Jim Beam, Deputy Press Secretary. Come on, Tyler Bridges, Press Secretary. Come on, guys. The man is sitting there telling you what they've been doing is not cut the budget. It hadn't been real cuts. Now, I've been on this for about a week or so, and I'm going to stay on it because I want the truth to be out there, and the governor and Darden are not being truthful. Okay? Jay's being truthful here because he has to be. But he's telling us no real cuts. All right, go ahead, Brandon.
$12 million adjustment we had to make last year. So 600 some odd million total. And I think the actual cuts there were 36 million. Everything else was handled by means of finance swap. So I guess my question is, when we're addressing the public and we say that we reduced or we cut the budget by 600 million is probably not accurate when the majority of that is means of finance swap. Would you agree with that?
I would not have. I don't think I've used the phrase
"cut
the budget."
I'm not saying you have, but I've heard some other people use it that say we cut the budget six.
Folks, how much easier can that be explained when it's being explained by the man who's now claiming we're doing $600 million in cuts, co-governor Darden, who's with the co-governor Edwards? I mean, how easy can it be that Lance said, so the $600 million cuts are not actually cuts because of we're using a means of financial swap. And Jay Darden, the co-governor, who got 15% in the election, shouldn't even be around the governorship. He says, well, no, you're right. It's not $600 million. I hadn't been saying that. Why didn't the press run with this? By the way, Dan Fagan did with the Advocate, but why didn't the press run with that with the headlines once they saw this, Brandon? I mean, Brandon, they can watch the same thing I'm watching. They can listen to the same thing I'm listening to. I'm just being honest. Jay was being honest for once. And now he's not being honest. I mean, and Bill Edwards stuck his nose out there, and then he puts information out there, which, by the way, we'll get that in a minute. Well, one of the NOLA Times Picayune, John Bell Edwards says he cut $600 million from Louisiana budget, but has he? And then they start talking about how he hadn't cut it. I don't know how easy this gets, folks, but I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. All right, we'll come back, wrap the rest of it. I think there's a few more minutes on the tape, a few seconds. All right, and we'll get that. Your calls are welcome now. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. When we get back, we'll wrap this up. Folks, am I the only one? Maybe you read this wrong. Maybe y'all hearing something different than me. I'm fighting for you because what they're doing in Baton Rouge with the governor and them is ridiculous. Hey, y'all, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Rob took my credit card. He said I donated to St. Rob. You know, I thought about doing this, and I think I will. And I don't know if somebody would be willing to do this for St. Jude. By the way, that number is 800-372-4999. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to throw it out there a couple times. Somebody may not do it. This is not cheap. But if somebody had the money to do it and they wanted to donate it to St. Jude, I'd be willing to do this. If somebody would donate $1,000, and you got to not call that number. You got to call Brandon on the radio, and he can talk to you off the air. Somebody would donate $1,000 for a $1,000 donation. And all you got to do is call Brandon on the Hickson Hazard hotline, tell him you want to do it, and we'll get it all set up for you. I'll give you 1 day to host with me. You can be liberal. You can be conservative. You can be whatever you are, but don't come here with an attitude. Come here and have some fun. I would give you 1 day, 2 hours of broadcasting with me. We'll nickname the program Moon and so-and-so. I mean, $1,000 donation. You call Brandon. Brandon have to get all the information. And I know you're saying, it's a lot of money to come sit with you. No. You're not doing it for me. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for the Children's Hospital, St. Jude. You're not doing it for me. I just thought it'd be fun to have somebody that it'd be a good cause, and then we'll work a day out for you, and you come to the studio and get to know Brandon. You'll like him. You might not like me, but you'll like Brandon, and we'll have fun. We'll feed you. We'll give you some good Cajun food and let you enjoy it. Heck, we might even take you to Shucks for lunch. How's that, Brandon? Come do the program.
Can I come?
Yeah, come do the Brandon. Brandon said he's digging in his pocket to see if he can find $1,000. But come to the program for $1,000. We will come spend half a day with us. Come do the program with us. Take you to Shucks and Eat on me, and for $1,000 donation to St. Jude. Now, that one you have to call us on the Hickson Hazard hotline, 844-766-6607, Hickson Hazard hotline. Now, I'm just saying it's a way to raise money for a great cause. And I would love to have me a co-host that day, have a fun, bring you to eat lunch, and have some fun with it. All right, 844-766-6607, Hickson Hazard hotline. Brian, I do want to finish the deal before I take a phone call. And then we'll get Jack. But this is Darden and Lance Harris still going back and forth.
Cut the budget $600 million, but actually the budget was only cut $36 million the prior year and $59 million last year. In actual cuts, according to what you started out saying today about means of finance swaps.
Joint Budget Committee testimony, January 22nd, 2018.
Here we go.
Senator, I have cut over $600 million state general fund in the 2 years I've been governor.
How could this be? The head of the Division of Administration, Darden, testified swaps don't reduce the general fund.
List of cuts that I'm happy to give you, all of state general fund dollars, and it adds up to more than $600 million.
I guess maybe my definition of a cut is different than yours. I mean, a $600 million cut, I would think, would be a reduction in state general fund dollars from one year to the next. And what I'm looking at is $8.7 billion in fiscal year 16, 9.1 in fiscal year 17, 9.4 in fiscal year 18 appropriated. I don't get the $600 million cut.
Well, I'll show you the list, and one of the things you're not taking into consideration are the required services that are imposed on us by law that we have to fund that go up every year. So if you, I mean, I can explain it to you. I can't understand it for you, and I'm not trying to be ugly about that.
Insulting.
But it's more.
Insulting.
Yeah, okay. That's it on that. And that,
You are right, Senator.
Insulting.
It is insulting.
All right, that's good, Brandon. Brandon, cut the tape. You got the tape cut? All right. Anyway, there it is. Once again, information, folks. The same stuff they accused Jindal of. If the people in Washington come to Baton Rouge and cover the stuff, Edwards Press would just cover the stuff right. The editorial headlines would be, Edwards, quit pulling our chain. The headlines ought to be, Governor, quit peeing on my leg and telling me it's raining. That ought to be the headlines in every newspaper, and they ought to burn his butt, and Jay Darden, because he's his budget guy. They really ought to burn him bad. Now, I'm not burning them bad. I'm just being honest with y'all. You hear it all over again. But they don't do that. They ought to burn him bad on this. This is an outright honor-code lie. Yet they don't burn them bad. They do talk a little bit about it, and but not like they should be. They are playing with numbers. And Brandon, what I'm gonna get you to try to do is Google. You might can go back to Edwards' first year, or Google Jindal's numbers don't add up, or just something, and see if you can pull out. And I'll give you some quotes. Let's go to Jack in Alexandria. Jack, how you doing?
I'm fine, man. What I wanted to tell you about was, first of all, long ago I used to live outside of Memphis, and I went to St. Jude's because they were. I worked for a major cardiovascular ultrasound company, and they had our machines, and we went in there, and I trained their techs and everything. Once you went there, it was the most humbling thing you've ever seen. And those children, all of them, most of them had ports in their chest where if they had to give them medicine or something, they wouldn't have to re-stick them. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But anyway, Moon, what I wanted to call you about, I've been hearing all this about the budget. about 2 weeks ago on KLB TV, they had a deal about the town account. And about 2 months ago, I told you about the town account having a fire rating of 10 because the town didn't have enough money to run, and supposedly the administration was taking money out of the fire department to run the town. Well, we look up, and going into the account is a brand new sign, and they had this ribbon cutting. And that's all fine with me, but this is not what's all fine with me. They said that this $14,000 sign was paid for by a grant from the state of Louisiana, Moon. From the state of Louisiana, who doesn't have any money.
Yeah, you see, Jack, you're proving my point. All these little communities, God bless every one of them, all these little communities keep getting money from state and the federal government, and that's not the state's job. If LeComp, and by the way, beautiful little place, I know some people from there. The beautiful little place, but if they don't have the money for a sign, they ought not be able to go to state government. State government was never designed to do all the things that they do. That sounds like a John Alario project for a vote. That's what that sounds like. That just don't make any sense. If you you can't put up a sign in your own community. You kind of got to wonder if the little town even needs to exist. Now, I'm not talking about LeComp in particular. I'm talking about towns that depend on the government to keep them whole. Just, I'm just telling you, people can get mad at me for saying that, but it's a fact. Unless it's a state project. Now, we made higher ed a state, state universities all over the place. So now we got to fund them, but we can't fund them because we don't have the economy to keep up with them. But you can't tell that to lawmakers. Anyway. Got to run, Jack. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. By the way, Brandon, you got news when we come back?
Yes.
You do?
Uh-huh.
On $1,000?
Oh, we got 3 people want to take you up on it just in the last few minutes.
Oh, wow. We're going to be giving away more because I'm not going to pass up on the money. I'm serious with you. We'll do it. Matter of fact, Brandon, if they're in some areas I can get to, we may come to their area and let me co-host.
Well, one of the people was asking about that.
We might. So we got 3. I got 4 because I got one on my phone you didn't even get from West Monroe. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back. We'll tell you about that. Rob will come in, tell you about the Radiothon. We'll tell you about the $1,000 givers. We'll be right back. All right, that wasn't the intention to do the 4 for the Radiothon, but I think for the purpose of that we're gonna have, and we'll get back with these people. But Rob, it's getting bad because one of them called me personally that I knew that said he wants to do it, and this was his negotiation. Look, if I come do the program with you, you got to take me to Shucks. Yeah. So I'm already doing that. Now I got to take him on the fishing trip.
Well, I'm not
negotiating everything away.
I'm waiting to see, how much of a St. Jude donation would it take for you to get a Hillary tattoo on your chest? What would that take?
I'm waiting for somebody to call in and say, I'm willing to give $5,000 if Moon would just quit for a couple of days.
Yeah. Oh, wait, let me go get my credit card.
Look at that. Rob would even do that. Well, Rob, why do that? Hell, use mine.
Yes. Oh, I got your credit card still. So the St. Jude Radiothon is going on today and tomorrow. We've been talking about it a lot here on the Town Square Lafayette stations, but stations across the country are doing this. And I think the overall message is that, look, as bad as a situation as cancer, especially cancer in a kid is, the fact that the parents never get a bill. We have great medical care here in this country, but it's expensive. And it's expensive to operate the hospital. It costs about $2.4 million to run every single day. So every little bit helps. We have been talking to tons of Moon listeners. By the way, apparently, so somebody just now called and they signed up 3 Partners of Hope. Did you say something about LeComp? Did you say something?
Did.
Because
no, actually, we had a call. They mentioned the state paid for their $14,000 sign. If the state's broke, how did they get the money? So we talked a little bit about it. And that was it.
So 3 people called from there and said, Moon talked about us today. We want to become partners in Hope.
Hey, by the way, we talked good about LeComp. We just didn't agree that the state paid for the sign.
Don't you know that they have the best pies in the whole state?
Well, I tell you what, they're great. I ate another one yesterday. It was really good.
Yes.
I'll tell you about that off there, but they do have great pie. I know people from there.
Their pecan pies are the best.
Yeah.
I love their pecan pies.
We got some really good people from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can become a partner, Hope, if you're listening to Moon today. The number is 1-800-372-4999. That's 1-800-372-4999. Also, Well, we don't say also on this show. We say, by the way, if you want to text, you can text LIVE, L-I-V-E, to 785-833. That's 785-833. You'll get a text back and take care of it that way. But look, the people are so appreciative of anything you can do.
I started to say live, but I caught myself.
Well, it looks, Moon, I'll give it to you because I said live the first 2 times as well. But it's live. Like, think about it. You want to live.
Well,
so anyway, thanks for letting us come on.
I said live alive. Since we're talking about a life, we're probably talking about live. See, I did deduction without using Common Core. I would have figured out for 3 more days.
I'll tell you this. Before it was called Common Core, I grew up in San Antonio for the first few years of my school-age life.
Really?
And maybe it was just progressive and I didn't know it, but I learned Common Core math before that's what it was called. And so when I kept seeing all these stories, and I'm like, why is that weird? That's how I learned it. But whenever you try to change a whole state into it, it just doesn't work out that way.
It's not a state. It probably has always been somewhere in our society.
Yeah.
You've proven the point in other places.
If you start it up maybe in kindergarten, then everyone understands. You just can't flip a switch, though, and say, all right, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And why are we talking about Common Core? Speaking of that,
probably because I said it.
Speaking of school, though, do you know that's one thing that St. Jude does is there are specialists that are at the hospital in Memphis. If you're there for 3 years, they want their patients to be able to be discharged and go right back to regular life. So they actually have people who work with the home school districts, home schools, to make sure that they are getting the same education. St. Jude, it's heaven on earth.
When you said that, the first thing I thought was that either homeschooling or somebody through the public school system, since you live in that district now, you become a public school system, person because of what you just said. You in that district. But either way, that's good news.
It's really great.
All right, Rob.
Thanks
man. I appreciate it.
Hey, good luck. Good luck with all these people that want to co-host. You better hope none of them are better than you. They might just get the job.
Well, Rob, the chances of them being better than me is pretty high.
Little did you know, people are paying to interview for your job.
Well,
wow.
Let me tell you something. That would be really not that hard to do.
Thanks,
I've been here 25 years. I ain't learned a lot yet, but I'm working on it. I'm still trying. Anyway, 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. We'll get to that call in just a minute because we have been talking about taxes. Last couple things. There's an article in the Times-Picayune, Louisiana Politics and Government, Julia O'Donoghue. Okay, and she talks about these cuts, but her headlines is good, Brandon. Mm-hmm. John Bell Edwards says he cut $600 million from Louisiana's budget. You heard him say it. Mm-hmm. But has he? Now, just when they said it, I thought, well, maybe. So they go on and they start off with the conversation they had with Senator Hewitt. And they start talking about the 600 cuts and how he said he had 600 cuts. But here's what I like. She says several of these cuts, by the Edwards staff's own admission, are not permanent, though some reductions that span both years have been counted twice. So you count them twice. For example, the governor counts $87.7 million in reduction to TOPS scholarship toward its 672 cuts, but they restored the funding. Brandon, is that a cut?
Doesn't sound like it.
If Mike Grimsley came in and said, Brandon, I cut your check $50, and you look in your check and you go, wow, I got cut $50, and he walks in here and hands you a $50 bill, did you really get cut?
Mm-mm.
No, you didn't, Brandon.
No.
Brandon, see how simple it is? Who's playing with numbers now? And so Julia did a good job. She said some portion of health care cuts have also been counted twice. They circle back and put the money back in. The Edwards administration said the cuts, even if now listen to what Edwards said. He said the cuts, even if restored or counted twice, represent a reduction to service over the past 2 years. How is that? How can a guy that's such an honorable person in the honor code make a comment like that, even though we cut him and we cut him twice? And even though we put the money back in, we still count it as cuts. He says just because cut isn't permanent doesn't mean it shouldn't be counted. Well, that don't make any sense. I gave you a great example. Brandon gets cut $50. The boss man comes back in, gives him $50. Did he get cut? He got cut for a day. But he got his money back, every penny. The numbers that are being played with are by the Edwards administration. And I just wish the fact that the press is doing some, they would go the full thing and say, Mr. Edwards, you bickered about this when Bobby Jindal was in office or left office. You and Jay Darden jumped up and said, we're going to be using real numbers. And that was before y'all used $300 million in one-time money, which you said you wouldn't do. That was before you increased Jay Darden's pay from the person that was there before him. We want to try like $33,000 to $237,500. No cuts, folks. No real cuts. So when you hear them say they cut, you ought to fall out laughing. When they hear Edwards, we cut $600 million, you ought to go, that's funny, Governor. Tell me another one. Tell me another one. That's hilarious, Governor. That's what you need to do. I know. It hurts too much to laugh. All right, let's go to the phone line. I got an anonymous caller, I guess. All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Moon. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. Always am.
Good. I just wanted to share some good news. I just called Washington, D.C. offices of Senator Cassidy, Senator Kennedy, and Representative Higgins. And of course, I talked to a receptionist, but I made sure to leave a message to thank them very much. I got my tax cut this morning on my paycheck.
In other words, you got extra money in the paycheck?
I have $140 more than I did for the last 8 years.
According to Nancy Pelosi, that's crumbs. That's nothing. I would be feeling pretty good about that.
I'm a Louisiana boy. I'm from this area. $140 every 2 weeks ain't crumbs to this, buddy.
I'll tell you what, I will take that today. Matter of fact, I'm glad you called in. I got a call yesterday from one of my buddies who has employees. Okay. The person came in wondering what happened to their check. It was so much higher. Okay, now listen to this. They had $150 extra in the paycheck that got a pay increase, and 83 more Trump's tax cut, and she got 83 more plus a $150 raise. So she had $235, and guess what? My friend says, well, that according to Nancy Pelosi, you didn't get much. You got a bunch of crumbs. She said, I'll take these crumbs every day. She was really excited. Middle-class people working. Which leads me to my next question. And I'm going to ask the question. Do you think Democrats in Congress and Democrats in general, do they hate America or do they hate Americans? Which one do they hate? Which one do they hate?
I think what we're seeing is they hate the fact that their vision of what was going to happen has changed and they're angry. That's what you're seeing with those scowls. It's not that what Trump's saying is making them unhappy. It's not that what it is they know they're not going to regain the House and they're not going to regain the Senate, and that's why they're angry.
But think about it, though. All the stuff that's gone on under Barack Obama, health care skyrocketed because it was a lie. Okay, median income was down. More people were on disability and got out of the workforce is why the unemployment number came down. All that stuff they were telling us was lying. Never a 3% quarter growth. 3% a year, not 1 year. If you like your doctor, you can keep him.
Remember that?
Oh, do I remember that? The lineman guy.
And he knew the truth. He knew it was a lie when he said it.
If he was talking, he was lying. Matter of fact, did you see Maxine Waters, what she said? Maxine Waters, which, by the way, is the nut of all nuts. Maxine Waters, first of all, she's saying Russia's trying to get her. Hell, if Russia want her, I'll do some of the driving and chipping on the gas to get over there. But she says...
Count me in. I got some extra money to throw in there, too.
Maxine Waters calling for parental advisory when Trump appears on TV. That something will stroll across the screen saying that kids should not be watching this. Well, what should a disclaimer? That it's may not be acceptable to kids. I guess we should accept that health care was going to be cheaper and $2,500 less a year, and that if you like your doctor, you can keep it. I mean, when didn't Obama lie about the economy? He also stirred up racism again. We reinvented racism again. So, but Maxine Waters, I'm telling y'all, there's an article, Brandon. Brandon's laughing. She says that...
It's true. I did read the article this morning, and when it comes to Maxine Waters, the only words I have are the same words as Representative Steve Scalise said about Rosie O'Donnell. It's a Southern phrase we gentlemen down south have, and all I have to say is to Maxine Waters, bless her heart.
Yeah. Well, Russia's out to get her. Russia can have her. We'll do some of the driving, chip in on the gas, take donations, and get her over there. Anyway, thanks, brother. We got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. I'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. A lot of stuff going on. Don't forget the radiothon for St. Jude. All you got to do is dial 1-800-372-4999. And they're looking for you to join in. Hope $20 a month. It's a great pledge. We appreciate all the people that have joined in. It's really happening all over the country right now. Different radio stations, different competing stations. They all doing it, and it's a good cause. I do have to thank Brandon. Can I mention the names, or is it too early for that?
Well, there's one that we'll need to call back, and you'll have to answer his questions. He said, and the answers that you're going to give him, he's going to say yes. But we can give the names of the other couple that have called in. If you want to do that, or you want to go ahead and just call them and just announce it tomorrow.
Well, we can announce, but it was 4 people, and one of them really doesn't even want to be on the air. And I don't mind mentioning him as Danny Williams. He's a friend of mine. I fished with him. I've been buddies with him for a long, long time. Danny's a great guy, great business guy. Been a big Christian guy, and he just wanted me to make sure that everybody knew that he didn't want to come on the program if he had to come on with me. But he would come on with you, Brandon, and do a couple hours. How you like that?
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
That ain't how the deal works. They got to come on with me.
Okay.
So anyway, Danny said the heck with that, but he'll give the money anyway.
Okay.
So he's trying to get on my good fishing side. That's all. Anyway, I appreciate it, Danny. And by the way, I know Gus Rance was one of them. Mm-hmm. And who was the other gentleman?
Tim Metcalf.
Tim Metcalf wants to come do it. Those 3, and we got one more out of Monroe. He had a couple questions. And one of them is what I do the program kind of in Monroe. Well, I've got some Monroe trips coming up, so yes, we will be coming to Monroe. I'm supposed to be back in Shreveport in a couple of weeks. This is my 25th year. I'm going to try to get around in the markets a little bit more. I'm always in Ellick. Of course, I'm always in Lafayette. And we'll try to get to our markets a little more than we've been able to get to in the last few years. It'll be a lot of fun, get to see a lot of people. Brandon, the only thing is I got to figure out what gifts I can bring. You know what I mean? We got to do some 25th anniversary stuff. The 25th anniversary is not till August. I'm planning on doing a show out of Monroe that day because that's where we started. So I'm planning on trying to do that anniversary there, but I hadn't worked on all that stuff. But anyway, we'll see what happens. All right, let's go to the phone line. Mason in Shreveport. How you doing, Mason?
Howdy, Mike Mason.
Yes,
I'm an architect in Shreveport.
Yes, sir. Good to hear from you.
Thank you, Moon, for your courage and your tremendous help in this state. I know it hadn't really gotten us a better governor, but I'm awful happy that you're. And I got to say, radio, I think, is what saved this country in the last presidential election, and maybe a little bit of Fox. But it's tremendous that we have still freedom to speak. And that's the only reason we've got conservatives that are still able to get into office, because the people with their hand out are such a big number that it's becoming difficult in these elections. And
no doubt.
I just wanted to say, I'm from Shreveport. We're a little blue spot up here, which is suffering as the total state is. When you have a governor that does nothing but raise taxes, chase away business. It's actually chasing away people with income and money, and leaving droves because of what is going on. And I don't understand it. I can't understand how a legislature that is supposedly Republican allows this. And maybe you can define why.
Well, no, Governor Edwards has a lot of Governor Edwards has a lot of power, and he's actually encouraged these legacy lawsuits. He's encouraged parishes to sue all companies. Oil and gas, oil prices are starting to skyrocket up. And the thing about it is people are doing better in that business, but not in Louisiana yet. I ran into a guy last night. I've talked to him several times. I'm not going to mention his name. I ought to bring him on air. I'm thinking about trying to get him. He's got 11 rigs that he could have working right now. He's only got one working. He's so disgusted, he'll point to Bill Edwards every time. Those lawsuits are killing my business. They're killing him. A man that wants to work and get things back up and running again can't because of Bill Edwards and his lawsuit buddies. That's a fact. Edwards is bad for business. We'll take. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Yeah, folks. Maxine Waters rushes out to get me. They can have her. They can have her. I mean, I have no problem with her going to Russia and spending the rest of her life. None whatsoever. And if she needs a little gas money, I believe we can raise it right here in my audience to make sure. But then she wants to censor on Trump's speech for children. the nuts are getting crazy, and that's why I asked the question. I was able to go back and watch a little bit of Trump stuff, and I saw a piece on with the Democrats where the one guy walked out, Brandon, after when they were now listen, Alan, USA, 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 and we got one guy walking out because he wants people to come in here and he wants them to be able to not say USA. He wants people to come in and say, Mexico, Mexico. I guess that's what he wants.
You're talking about the guy that walked out? That was Representative Luis Gutierrez.
I know, but
from Chicago.
Think about it. He walked out when they were shouting USA because his feelings were hurt. I don't know if he knows this or not. He lives in the freaking USA. We live in the USA. Does he know this is the USA? What are we supposed to be hollering? Venezuela, Venezuela, Mexico, Mexico. What do we want? What do we holler at the Olympics?
Maybe they should have been yelling Univision because that's apparently where he was heading to, was to go do an interview with Univision.
That's where he went?
Mm-hmm.
But, think about that. I mean, and you saw Nancy Pelosi. She keeps telling folks, these pay raises, I hope to hear from people over and over again about the pay raises. Now, there may be one jackrabbit in it, but I'm down $500 a month. I mean, there'd be somebody trying to mess with you. But I love hearing the stories where people are getting more money. And all you're really doing, Brandon, you're getting a pay raise from the company, thank the company, but you've earned it. And the money that the Trump tax cut is all about, that's your money too. You just don't have to give as much to the government anymore. Somebody said Maxine Waters needs a psychiatric evaluation. I think the doctor would go nuts trying to figure that out. But so my question still stands. Do Democrats hate America, or do they just downright hate Americans? There were people that come over here legally. That I had a lady on the program the other day. I love those people when they become Americans. The people over here illegally that don't even want to learn anything to do with the Constitution, our way of life, nothing. These Democrats vote no on you keeping your hard-earned money. They vote no for freedom. They vote no for you going to work out your health care. They despise Americans. And a lot of these same Democrats despise real Christians, too. So my question is, do they despise Americans or they just hate America? Or maybe both. That's a shame. Why vote Democrat? What are you going to get? They're going to take everything you got and give you something back so you can clap for them. They do want they need more underclass people. They need them. And then they turn around and holler racism at Trump and everybody because they want to do what's right. Protecting America will always be right, no matter what they call it. Let's go. Terry in Alexandria. How you doing, Terry?
How's it going, Moon?
Doing fine, sir.
How about those pay raises?
Well, I'm hearing from people that are getting them.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. All they're doing is keeping more of their hard-earned money. Some of them are getting pay raises with the tax breaks. That's what this lady saw that my friend sent me. $150 pay period, and then also $83 extra on the tax break. That's pretty good. I'll tell you what, I would take that all day long.
Yes. As long as we can keep staying on our 40 hours, we're all right.
Well, I don't know why.
Especially down here in South Louisiana.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to cut back. I remember when Barack Obama not only socked me in the mouth with health care. I have a son who was in the New Orleans area at the seminary, and he was working full time, and Obama socked him because they had to cut his hours back below 28 hours, some 27, whatever it was, from 40, sometimes 42 hours, because they didn't want to carry their health care, which I don't blame them. So he had to move back and go to school part-time instead of going full-time and being a full-time employee. That's what Barack Obama did to my son. I mean, that man that man right there, wow, what a bad, bad president, a bad person for this country. But he smiled, he wore a suit, and everybody thought he was real educated and smart. He hurt us, man. He hurt us bad.
Well, he's over with now.
Well, no, he's not.
And we barely missed the bullet.
Why is that?
We barely missed the bullet. We almost got Hillary Clinton.
Oh, I agree.
That would have been awful.
Yep,
but you All the money y'all make in the radio business, y'all can't send your children, just let them go to school, and help them out?
But look, man, we get excited when minimum wage goes up in this business. You didn't know that? All right. Let's move on. Jay on the road. Jay, how you doing?
Yes, Moon. We're doing good. I can't give out too much information, but man, I'm getting tired. We got 3 raises coming up. We got a 2% raise at the first of the year. Then we got another $200 raise supposed to be in this coming pay period, and then we got another one coming up in June of this year. I don't know if it's the after effects of Obama, but I believe it's because of Trump. Now, I'm not sure about that. You know how we always used to blame it? They always blame everything on Bush and Bush and Bush. Well, I'm going to give a little credit to Obama. I don't know how true it is, but I know I appreciate all the peanuts. I don't know what Pelosi used, but I tell you, I'm enjoying these races, Moon. I enjoy all the information you're giving out. And
by the way, if you're working though, the other raise you're gonna get is that your tax cut's gonna help your money go up too. So that's just a fact.
Exactly,
that Obama's not a taker.
Yes, sir.
Obama's not a giver; he's a taker, and that's why we $10 trillion more in debt because they took money and kept making sure their buddies in the unions and stuff were getting it. That's just a fact, Jack. Anyway, I gotta run. Gotta go. Thanks, Jay. Squeeze in one more for the break. Jack in Bossier City. How you doing, Jack? I was in your fair city yesterday.
Well, lucky you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was. It was a blessing. We had a lot of fun in Bossier Shreveport.
Did you bring Tanya with you?
Brought my bride with me. She had a blast. It was kind of a getaway. We went to the Bossier Chamber of Commerce. My good friend Clay Young sponsored that event, and he had asked us to come, and we had to do the remote and stuff, so we kind of made it a 24-hour swing up there, and we had a lot of fun. And yeah, Tanya had a lot of blast. She had a big blast too.
Yeah, well, that's great. Hey, Moon, if you go back and watch the State of the Union address, and you may have talked about this yesterday, one of your listeners may have brought it up because I didn't get a chance to listen, but about the 24-minute mark of his speech, Trump introduced a couple, their last name was Staub, S-T-A-U-B, that had taken their money and hired 14 new employees, and he introduced them, and the Republicans stood up and clapped, and the Democrats sat on their hands.
Yeah, they don't like Democrats. Don't like business. They don't like expansion. They don't like people having freedom. They really don't like this country.
Yeah, but that's right. They're racist, and here's the proof. Right after that, they introduced a guy that he hired named Corey Adams, and he was a black guy they hired and trained as a welder, and he said he was a very good welder. And he asked him to stand up, and they showed the legislature from the balcony, and the Republicans stood up, and the Democrats sat on their hands until they looked around and saw that he was black.
Yeah.
And when they they showed him clapping or raising his hand, and when they panned back down, they realized it, and they all stood up.
Yeah. Well, listen, the Democrat Party, which the Black Caucus, which you're talking about, is a big part of it. The one thing they know what to do is ruin people's lives. And if you go look in the dead of the inner cities, it'll show you what they mean for the whole country. That's what they want.
Oh, there's no inner city in America that we've given away and it's been improved.
No, and it's not going to improve because they don't want it to improve. They want to own it. And they want you to come to them for everything. That's all they've ever done. So, anyway, got to go. Thanks for the call. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Brandon, I know we got Super Bowl this weekend. Please tell me when they do the NCAA basketball tournaments, they're not going to re-invite Obama back.
It's ESPN. I can't guarantee that.
Oh, my God. They did get rid of Jamel Hill, though. I can now go back and watch 5 o'clock Sports Center.
Wait, they did get rid of her?
She got demoted. She's doing other things.
Really?
Yeah, she's done. She's off the program.
When did that happen? Because I don't pay attention to ESPN.
I'm sorry, Brand. I should have brought it up last week. It happened last week.
Wow.
And I think this Monday's – absolutely, yeah. It was I I think this coming Monday she's officially gone, but she was not on there yesterday or the day before. Whenever I happened to be, that's right, we were in Shreveport. I turned it on. She was gone. It was great not to see her, and because she's such a racist, and I just was great not to put on.
So they still have the other guy, Michael, whatever his name is.
He wasn't even on there, but I think he's still there. All right, folks, don't forget to try my good friends at Shucks. David and Bird do such a wonderful job, and we brag about them because I go down, I eat their food, and I enjoy the atmosphere, and you can too. Shucks is located in Abbeville, Louisiana. I'm telling you, not even 15, 20 minutes out of Shreveport. I mean, Shreveport. I was in Shreveport, yes, out of Lafayette. They do such a wonderful job with their food. If you want real Cajun cuisine, they have it. If you want real great Cajun atmosphere, they have it. Shucks is just an all-around great place to go, folks, and their food is super. We ate raw oysters, char-grilled oysters. I mean, people had different. Go try their awesome seafood salad with oysters and crawfish and shrimp. Man, it gets me excited thinking about it. The stuff's great. You will enjoy it. Shucks, located in Abbeville, Louisiana. Great place to visit. They have a lot of fun. If you got a group of people, call and let them know you're coming. They will try to make arrangements for you. That's my friends at Shuck, David and Bert. All righty. By the way, tonight, there is a meeting. Bossier Parish Republicans, okay? They got 5 representatives. Fake Republican Robert Adley would be one person that's there. He's the one that's lied about everything. And if these guys don't eat him up on his budget, this $600 million, y'all, I gave y'all tons of information. Even Jay Darden says it's not a cut. Robert Adley should be ashamed of what he's going to say at that thing. Senator Ron Gaddy has been probably the most disappointed senator I've ever seen. He runs as a conservative. He runs to the church group who tries to get behind Gaddy. Gaddy's probably the biggest fake. He is a Bell Edwards sycophant. You know, that's the party, you people in church, that supports abortion, killing babies, change the definition of marriage. Ron Gaddy's been a disappointment. I'm hoping somebody will run against him and take that seat. Representative Raymond Cruz, who I met the other day, great guy. Representative Dodie Horton, I never met. Representative Larry Baggy. So, anyway, that's tonight. Representative Alan Seabaugh talked to Alan. They said he didn't get invited. Please don't let Robert Adley lie. You can't let him sit there and lie one lie after another. You just can't do it. And ask Ron Gaddy, has he ever made any money on Bell Edwards' campaign? Has he ever rented any buildings to him? You need to ask him. Okay, here's another email. My wife and I received a pay raise and also tax cut increased our household income by $360 a month. $4,320 a year, which my wife loves more for her to spend laughing my rear end off. Brandy, heard that? This household, between the two, have $360 more in their pocket. Okay, under Donald Trump's tax cut, help you pay for that high health care Obama put on us. It comes to $4,320 a year, Brandon. Brandon, that's real money. I'd take that in a second. Hey, folks, that's Tim. Tim, thanks. Tim and Amy. Thank y'all. Keep the stories coming. I like to hear them. I like to share with people. They can't, real people are going to find out. Democrats didn't want you to have none of that. They voted against you keeping your money. They vote against you keeping your money. They vote against households making more money. Don't forget that. All right. Paul in Shreveport. How you doing, Paul?
Just fine, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was very surprised to hear you say that Democrats hate real Christians, and it causes me to question what you think a real Christian is, because I consider myself a Democrat. I tend to be liberal, and I also think of myself as trying to be a good Christian.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions to you. Abortion, the killing of a human being. If you're a Christian, don't you think God knew you before you were in the womb? How can you support a party that actually kills babies? 60 million to count. Explain that to me.
Well, I have a different belief.
No. You can have a different belief than me. I claim to be ignorant. You tell me in the Word of God what killing a baby. Show me in the Scriptures so I can believe what you're getting ready to tell me. Don't tell me what you think. Don't tell me what you believe and you say. Tell me where killing a baby. Tell me where the changing the definition of a marriage of a man and woman, which the Democrats wanted to do that for so long. You tell me, scripturally speaking, sir, I want to know. I'm willing to listen.
Scripture does not address the issue of abortion.
I got to go, sir. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're a good Christian, and I pray you continue to practice Christianity. Okay, so now, so when Jesus says and God says, I knew you before you were formed in that womb, which is scriptural, you saying that don't exist. Look, I'm not making a judgment on you. I have no power over you. I don't tell you who's a good Christian or not. I'm telling you, Democrat Party policies destroy the home and the Christian faith. It destroys them. And I don't have a problem standing on that. Go talk to somebody else about that. Tell me what you believe and what you think and what scriptures don't say. Let me go to Paul and Sherrington. How you doing, Paul? I'm
doing good.
I'm going to apologize to my audience because I'm not going to listen to an opinion on this. I'm just not. Just not. I guess, some people believe, like Obama believes, there's many ways to get to God. Really? Where's that in the Bible? Brandon, we done or you thought we were done? All right, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, Moon, I had a $29 pay raise on my Social Security check. Now, I don't listen to much TV news except maybe like the local stations like KATC. I get most of my news from the radio. I had never heard of a Social Security raise, and I think it was a percentage raise, but I'm just wondering if it's from the Trump tax cuts that it went up $29, or Social Security just gave a raise. I have no way of finding out that. Maybe you can find out.
I tell you, if you want to, all you got to probably go, you could go to a CBA and they can tell you what the deal is. Bring your check stub, Social Security, and just bring it in and ask them. That's the only way I can tell you that. I mean, I'm not the guy to ask. I mean, I work on monthly. I got to pay quarterly taxes.
Well, I thought maybe y'all had heard something.
No, I know.
I know you and Brandon listen to a lot of stuff.
I know. I've heard people call and say that check went down because of Medicaid, something like that. They had some money taken out of it. But what you're telling me on Social Security, maybe there was an increase. I don't know that answer. But if you go to a CPA or somebody in the business, maybe somebody will call and let us know, Paul. I got to go. Thanks for the call. Here's somebody else, Brandon. The guy works about 3 jobs. Said his monthly take-home pay increase is over $170 a month. He said he also had a $400 a bonus, and he says he's pumped. So anyway, let's go to Tammy and Terrebonne. How you doing, Tammy?
Hi, Moon. Moon, this political situation we have is going to be the best of both worlds. We have Donald Trump and the Republicans giving us more money to spend things on, and of course, if we can get legal weed here in Louisiana, we'll be able to spend on things that we want to spend it on.
Yeah, well, you got to get away from the Edwards Darden tax increases so you can keep some of your money because they're trying to get what you got. By the way, thank you. By the way, Brandon, here's another one. Family income increased $550 a month under Donald Trump's tax cuts. Brandon, that's real money, $550, and it may be because he got a raise too, but he just said because of the tax cuts. And let's see, when it start hitting home, I don't know what Democrats run. They hate America so bad. Maybe they ought to run on a hate America theme. By the way, the guy that called Christian, I never said you were not a Christian, but don't call here. When you say scriptures don't talk about it, God have mercy. When did God know you? You think you got a dead sperm hit a dead egg, dead kid till it comes out? That's genocide. Abortion has become genocide. 60 million is genocide. We'll see you tomorrow.